Hey yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy AceoxReacts, and I'm back with another reaction. This time I'm going to react to Skyrim Ruined Oblivion Remastered for me by Lukewarm Lore. First of all, we've never seen a Lukewarm Lore video on this channel, so I'm excited to see once again what this creator has in store for us, what his style of video making is, and so on. You know the drill. You know the drill by now. And I just realized, oh, he only has 330 subscribers, so I'm guessing he's a new creator. So yeah, let's see what other newish creators have in store for us. About Oblivion Remastered, I tried to like it. I really tried to like it. In the beginning, it was kind of cool to see an old game like that with newer realistic graphics, but still roughly the same gameplay, but it wore off pretty quickly and the bugs are just, no, it wasn't enjoyable. I was really disappointed. Funny enough, I heard about it the day it was released, because if I remember correctly, it was a stealth release, right? But yeah, I heard about it just right in time, and for the first time in like, I don't know, 10 years, I bought a game day one without even thinking, paid full price. And there's a reason why I haven't done that in a long time. And I had to understand once again that the reason is still the same. And that reason is, it's always gonna be disappointing. It's gonna be broken, it's gonna be buggy, it's gonna be shit. And that's really disappointing for me because, I mean, I bought it. I was so excited because it's Oblivion. Oblivion is one of my favorite games ever. Not because of the gameplay, which is lacking, and I had some issues like the difficulty scaling and ugly character models, repeated dungeon graphics which made every dungeon feel the same, and yeah, it was janky, but it was charming janky. And what I quickly had to realize once I started playing Oblivion Remastered is that the charming part of the jankiness is gone, because they added some voice actors and stuff, re-recorded lines, and it did not sound good, and I missed the old sounds. They made some changes which were alright, but kind of made the game way too easy, and the graphics took away pretty much everything else that made the game charming in the first place. You know, if every character in the game looks ugly as fuck, like me, then it's funny. If the animations are stupid, it's funny if they do some random ass shit. But if it looks realistic and they replaced some of the old sounds and stuff like that, it's gone. The magic is gone. So yeah, I was really disappointed, and at some point I even softlocked myself, so I had to go back to an earlier save just to finish I think it was the Thieves Guild quest? Yeah, I think it was that. Because for some reason, I don't know what happened, but it softlocked completely. And no matter what I tried, I couldn't get it unstuck. So it had pretty much huge issues, not even the original had, if I remember correctly. And they didn't fix that. Instead, they made everything look realistic and with shitty lighting. I mean, what made Oblivion special was the lighting. You know, the lighting and the luscious, fucking kind of almost oversaturated, colorful nature parts and the medieval fantasy vibes, but not the dark medieval fantasy vibes. While the remastered looked like just like your average, boring, run-of-the-mill, dark medieval fantasy game. And it's shit. It was not memorable at all. It was a cool gimmick at first, but it wore off pretty quickly, and I'm really disappointed. I was so tired just a couple of hours in, and if you know Oblivion, it can be quite a long game. So, but I did it. I collected all the trophies and stuff, but it was not worth it, unfortunately. I really tried to like it, but no. They pretty much stripped everything that made the game good in the first place and replaced it with generic Unreal Engine bullshit. I fucking hate Unreal Engine. Of course, the engine itself is not the problem. The problem is how developers use the engine. And I think they used some live upscaling, if I remember correctly, for Oblivion, and it was weird. I remember when I entered the room, the food for some reason started to scale up in graphics. It was weird. You know, at first it was kind of grainy and then it got sharper and sharper and sharper. Maybe it was a bug, I don't know, but it was very obvious for me. And the lighting bugs, especially at night, which looked like there was patchy light floating in midair. No, I'm mad. And the UI, come on, the UI was badass. It was beautiful. It was fantasy. And they replaced it with generic ass shit. No. That's something I didn't like about Skyrim either. I was so excited to see what the UI looked like in Skyrim when I bought it back in the day. 2011. Can you believe it? Damn. And I was really disappointed because Skyrim has a very minimal, pragmatic UI design. And Oblivion Remastered, thankfully, didn't go all the way in Skyrim's direction for the UI design, but it still wasn't good. No, the original was the best, man. Why did you replace that? Anyway, I've talked for way too long and we haven't even started with the intro talk yet. So let me get that quickly out of my system. Before we start, like always, go into the video description, click the first link in the video description under the credits tab to get to the original video by Lukewarm Lore. Leave him a like, leave him a comment, tell him Oblivion Remastered. More like Oblivion, my ass dirt. Tell him that. And obviously subscribe to him. I think he deserves it, you know, right from the get-go. I mean, after all, we're reacting to his video and I hope he's fine with that. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna do a good job with this video. And at the end, I'm gonna remind you that he deserves it twice, double the amount to be subscribed to. So do that. And I'd say, without further ado, here we go.
Oblivion is incredible.
Yes. Why is it so loud? There we go. Turn it down on my end.
That's what I thought I'd be opening this video with.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not true. At least not to me.
Yeah.
The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim has always been one of my favorite games of all time.
I think Oblivion had a great potential, but
I fell in love with its incredible atmosphere, captivating quest lines, and amazing music. I vividly remember spending hours upon hours playing it every night after school during the winter, losing myself in its world that managed to feel so mature and immersive compared to other games I had grown up on.
Yeah, Skyrim was special, but I mean, it improved a lot upon the potential that was kind of missed in Oblivion. But now I just realized, so he didn't play the original Oblivion? Damn. And then going back to Oblivion, but playing the remastered version, which is a lot inferior than the original. Yeah, I can see why he didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like it and I grew up with the original, right? And the original was good. It wasn't perfect, let's not lie to ourselves. Oblivion, the original, and the remastered. Pretty much any Elder Scrolls game, basically. It's not perfect. There's a lot of room for improvement, let's put it like that, right? But it has a charm. It has Bethesda charm. Or it had. Starfield didn't have that. And I'm pretty worried about what Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be like. Fallout 76 didn't either have the charm. Fallout 4 kind of lost it at that point already. So, yeah, maybe the era of janky but charming Bethesda games is over. But still, at least back in the day, they were janky but charming, and Bethesda they were a smaller studio. They had big ideas and not the money or time to invest properly into them, into making them become reality. So they had like half-baked ideas that are pretty cool. They had some really cool potential and they didn't squander it entirely. They tried their best, and you can tell they tried their best with the limited amount of resources they had. While nowadays, it's just sad. They have the resources. Why is it still so janky? But yeah, I'm excited to see what he has to say about Oblivion, because Oblivion isn't the favorite game of most Elder Scrolls players, but for me it is. But it's basically just the vibes. The vibes of the original is what made it special for me, and the Shivering Isles. Yeah, that DLC is easily, in my opinion, the best DLC I've ever played in any game ever. Right behind that is the Witcher 3's DLC. What was it? The Toussaint DLC? What was it called? Blood and Wine? Yeah, Blood and Wine. The other one was also kind of cool, but Blood and Wine was like gigantic. A gigantic DLC. For 20 bucks. Just for 20 bucks, man. You get like a full game. It is great. And Shivering Isles was that, but way earlier. So yeah, it's not perfect. Far from it, actually. I'd say the game itself isn't really that great. Let's not kid ourselves. Alright, Oblivion is very bare bones. The story is meh at best. But the Dark Brotherhood questline, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That one is peak. But everything else is like nah. But the chill vibes, the proper fantasy vibes it gave off, really made up for that. And the remastered fucked it up, like I said a million times already. I'm mad. I tried to like it. I was so disappointed. And I feel like I've wasted my money once again by being impulsive. Hearing that one of my favorite games gets a remaster and immediately buying it and regretting it almost immediately as well. Yeah, I'll never do that again. Fuck you.
Following my unforgettable experiences with Skyrim, my search for more games that could replicate its magic led me to learn about Oblivion, which seemingly had its own reputation as a timeless masterpiece.
Yeah, but for different reasons.
I was convinced the 2006 classic was a game I absolutely had to get around to at some point. I just didn't know when that would be and felt slightly apprehensive about.
I could have told you that
the games
that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to do something like that. Playing the newest game and then going back to an older one, because it's not gonna hit like that. It's not gonna hit like that. Ambulance again. Who shed out their guts? Alright, they're gone. They're gone. They hurt me. They're disappointed in me. I'd say it almost never works to any game's favor if you play the newest game first and then go back to an older one. While if you play the older one first and then go back to the newer one, it can at least increase the appreciation for the newer one, right? Everything it improved upon, even more so than if you just played the newer one and nothing else. So going backwards most often than not does not really work that well. I made the mistake with the Yakuza series. I started with Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who, what was his name? The man who had no name or something like that. I liked it. It was not too long. It was very enjoyable. And then I went back to Yakuza 0, I think. No, Yakuza 1, the remastered version. And while I still like it, it did not, no. I like the Like a Dragon Gaiden a lot more. And then I played Like a Dragon, what was it called? I think was it just called Like a Dragon? When they made the name change, even though it was already Like a Dragon. But for some reason, we in the West got the name Yakuza, even though the original is Like a Dragon. You know, like with Resident Evil, we got Resident Evil, and Japan got Biohazard. Yeah. Either way, I played the one where you start off as a homeless dude, a homeless Yakuza member, because you've been killed. Or so they thought. But yeah, that one was okay. I'm not a fan of RPG. Ground-based gameplay, but it did an interesting job. And then I played Judgment? I think it was called Judgment, and no, I couldn't get into that. No. So yeah, I've done that. I've been there. I could have told you. Dude, if you just told me like, hey yo, AceoxReacts, you played Skyrim? Should I play Oblivion? I would have told you no. But if you do, lower your expectations a lot. And don't try to compare it with Skyrim. That's not fair. It came before. Why do you think Skyrim is so great? Because it improved upon the issues Oblivion had. So yeah, it is it's a trap everyone falls into every now and then. I fall into this trap a lot when it comes to music. I listen to a cover song first and then realize, oh, hold on, it's a cover song. And then I listen to the original and I'm like, that's shit. I don't like it. I like the cover song more. Not because it's better, because I heard it first. So I started to compare the original to the cover song and not the cover song to the original. You know, so it's like, yeah. So I could have told you, lukewarm lore, you should have just hit me up. Yeah. I don't know where, because I don't know if anyone can even contact me anywhere. But you should have done that. I mean, we don't know each other, but you still should have done that. I could have warned you. But that's your fault if you don't think of every possibility to take action in. Yeah, get them.
When it was announced that Oblivion had been remastered by Virtuous Games and Bethesda this year, I was absolutely elated, as I knew this would be the perfect time to finally dive into the beloved RPG. I think it's important to emphasize just how high my expectations were for Oblivion.
Yeah, that was
my primary mistake.
Yeah.
If I had gone into this game with different expectations and had a greater tolerance for some of its more dated aspects, perhaps I would have had a better time with it. The problem is, I went into Oblivion thinking that this would be the next Skyrim for me, with a world and atmosphere.
Yeah, okay, that's delusional. That's delusional. There's no other Skyrim.
While I started off enjoying the game, the more and more hours I played, the more feelings of boredom and frustration started to creep in.
Exactly.
To me, the game's so-called charm felt more like annoying jank. Its world seemed hollow and repetitive, and its main quest was mediocre at best.
Exactly.
Obviously, I understand this may not be
like I said.
Popular video, as Oblivion is one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time.
No, Oblivion, it was shat on relentlessly when it came out. You know, I'm from the time, so no, I've been there. No, it was shat on relentlessly in the beginning. Maybe that's why I liked it from the get-go, because I kind of like an underdog story, right? And when Skyrim came out, it was still relentlessly shat on, because Morrowind was just mind-blowing at the time. And then came Oblivion, and it was like, what? And then Skyrim came in, and they're like, yeah, that's what Oblivion should have been like. But the longer Skyrim went on, the more people started to come around to Oblivion and realize it's not all that bad. You know, they've been very very unfair to the game in the beginning for many reasons that don't really hit in that moment. So it took some time. It took some time to remind you that it had a charm you actually liked. But the issues, of course, like the bugs and everything, and the ugly character models, and the boring main quest, and also some of the boring side quests and stuff like that, as well as the kind of empty open world and the fast traveling and the difficulty scaling and all that issues, it overshadowed the beauty of Oblivion. And over the time, when the jankiness fade away into the background because other newer Bethesda games came out with way more jank, people started to come around to Oblivion and realize, damn, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't masterpiece level, but it was okay. It was pretty good. It was pretty unique. And then the remastered version came out, and I haven't heard anyone who beat it who still says it's at least as good as the original, if not better. I have not heard that from anyone. I might be wrong, but I think the common consensus to this version of the game is pretty bad because it's just, ooh, Oblivion, but more realistic. And the beauty, the charm of the original is gone. And that's what people look fondly back to, right? The visuals of the old game, the janky but charming jankiness. And they replace it with, like I said, Unreal Engine jank. It's not good jank, it's just jank. It's just frustrating jank. It's just shit. So yeah, I wonder if Lukewarm Lore played the original for this video after playing the remastered, but I guess not, because once I finished the remastered version, I didn't even want to look at the original with my ass for a long time. So yeah, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't give the original a go. But if you didn't do that, Lukewarm Lore, you gotta try the original. Just go at it expecting some interesting vibes, but that's it, alright? Don't expect a masterpiece. Especially don't expect Skyrim. There's nothing like Skyrim. So yeah. And also I suggest try out Morrowind. That's a cool game too. But lower your expectations even further because Morrowind is old. And you can tell. You can, not just by the way it looks, I mean, you can tell in the design decisions, gameplay decisions, all that stuff. But still, it's a unique thing, and I'd say there's nothing comparable to it. Just like the original Oblivion, just like the original Skyrim.
If you're unfamiliar with my videos, I try to be as level-headed as possible when
that's a good thing.
Why I have particular feelings about a game.
Yeah.
Also, always remain honest when delivering my opinion.
That's a good thing. That's a good quality to have.
Get a reaction out of people by trashing their favorite game. Instead, I want to use this to try and analyze why Oblivion fell slightly flat for me, at least compared to Skyrim.
I totally respect that. That's a really good
amount of my time
quality to have.
And I can absolutely see why people love this game, especially when factoring in the nostalgia many have for it. If that's you, I'm just asking that you try and see my perspective as someone who's not the biggest RPG enthusiast, playing this nearly 20-year-old game for the first time in 2025.
And playing the remastered version.
Nostalgia for Oblivion.
Bad decision.
Nostalgia for Skyrim. And it's that same nostalgia that excessively inflated my expectations for Oblivion to the point that it was never going to live up to them.
Hey, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but that's normal. That's kind of normal.
I love many aspects of Skyrim, but the thing that initially captivated me the most about the game was undoubtedly its incredible atmosphere. I've never played a game with a world that feels like Skyrim's does. It somehow manages to be...
Personally, I was very disappointed when Skyrim came out because to me, Oblivion the original was just beautiful. Wherever you went, at least in nature areas. Fuck the caves and dungeons, they were shit. They were shit. The cities were alright. They were okay. Oblivion gates were also shit. But the nature aspect, you know, the open world part, especially on the Shivering Isles, it was just so... it looked so juicy. And then Skyrim came out and was like, why is everything gray? Why is there everywhere snow? Where's the beautiful sunset and the beautiful whatever, sunrise? That's the word, right? Where's all that shit? Why is everything so dark and gritty? Where's the charm? Where's the fantasy? But over time, I grew to love Skyrim for what it is. But I did the same thing. I compared Skyrim to Oblivion, and I liked the aesthetic of the original Oblivion release a lot more than Skyrim because I like colors. I like colors and nature. Snow and gray and gritty and more realistic stuff isn't my forte. I like cartoonish stuff, right? Because it's colorful, it's simplistic, I like it. I don't have to justify why I like it. If you don't like it, then that's your good right. But it's also mine to like what I like. I like pee-pee caca, you like pee-pee poop. It's not the same, but it is, yeah. Yo, watch this. I'm gonna wave. cola liquids. Yeah. Normally I don't vape in my room, but I go to the kitchen and vape there. But I'm not gonna take a vape break. I talked way too much. That's my fault. So I'm just gonna do it here and quickly get it over with, and then we're gonna continue. Right? Yeah. One thing I really don't like about the Elder Scrolls series in general is the way you level up skills. I've grown to like it somewhat, but I still would prefer if you get experience points in a way, right? Because sometimes, especially when you level, let's say 50, at that point, money doesn't matter, equipment doesn't matter, you already have pretty much everything the way it should be. Being a rich ass motherfucker, using badass equipment and weapons and shit. There's nothing rewarding you can get after completing quests at that level. And I think if you at least get some skill experience points, it would be good, because I'd say around, let's say, level 70 of a skill, it just takes ages to get that skill to the next level. And that would have, you know, made it a little bit better. But I also like the idea that the more you use a skill, the better it gets. I really like that, but it has potential. I think the Elder Scrolls series still hasn't fully used. If you look at, for example, GTA San Andreas, that's what I like. Leveling up passive stuff as well. Like, you know, the more you sprint, the more stamina you get, and the longer you can sprint. And, you know, getting fat or skinny or buff by eating or working out or starving, it's cool. I wish Skyrim did something like that, because it works. It works the way it is implemented in the game, but it could have been so much more. And that's pretty much what I always feel about Bethesda games. There is great potential that's not fully used, but it is still used to some degree, but not fully. So I'd like to see a game where it takes advantage of all these good things and squeezes out the maximum amount of potential. Because imagine, the more you get hit, the more HP you get. That would be a lot cooler than having to divide your upgrade point when you level up between either magicka or health or stamina. Instead, why not use it like the skills? The more you use it, the better you get, right? That would be cool. And it would also incentivize, you know, sprinting a lot so you get more stamina. That would be my ideal implementation of the system. But yeah, now we're getting nitpicky, right? So I'm just gonna shut up. Yeah.
So mature and believable, yet also magical. I recently made a video about great open world design where I gushed over the effectiveness of its atmosphere, so you should check that out if that sounds interesting. The point is,
maybe we'll do that.
It will always be special to me in the way that it provides a sense of home that many of us long to return to.
I can totally understand that.
Somehow be able to replicate this in its own way.
Oh.
While I didn't gel with the game's world as much as I did in Skyrim's, I still think its atmosphere is one of the better parts of the game. Whereas Skyrim is a land that is much more dark fantasy-esque with a more oppressive and mature tone throughout, Cyrodiil feels a lot more magical and takes much more of a light fantasy approach than I was expecting.
Yes, but now I realize you should have played the original. I hope you did, because you're really missing out what made Oblivion great in the first place, because the remaster does not have that. It does not have the sauce. And just seeing the footage of Skyrim and Oblivion remastered side to side, there's the goblin in my brain that always tells me, I gotta say something. I gotta tell him. He needs to know the original is way better in that regard. It is high fantasy. It is awesome. But yeah, I'm talking to a video, so, you know, he's not gonna respond to me because he's a video. Imagine being a video. Wouldn't be me. Wait, but I am. And I'm not even a person in the video. I'm a pufferfish. Damn.
Walking through the world while light peeks through the trees of its lush forests.
Yeah.
Like something from a fantasy storybook.
The original is so much better though.
Even the snowy Geralt Mountains to the north, which border the province of Skyrim, feel much less desolate or treacherous compared to any mountains in that game. I think Cyrodiil is a pretty solid fantasy setting. However, I definitely prefer the darker, more bleak feeling presented by Skyrim's daunting mountains.
That's fine.
Vast tundras and endless snowfall. Also, for some reason that I can't quite explain, I think Oblivion's atmosphere just feels somewhat bland and lifeless compared to Skyrim's richer, more authentic world, which kept me from achieving the level of immersion I had hoped. Part of this could be because of the towns, which I think are the defining areas of both of these games. I absolutely loved getting lost in each of Skyrim's different cities.
Yeah, they're kind of dense, some of them.
Interesting they were to explore, as well as for their unique atmospheres. Sadly,
There's something about the towns in Oblivion I really still don't like, to be honest, to this point, because it really lacks, I don't know, cohesion. It just feels so random that I don't remember where to go. In Skyrim, I know where everything is, in most towns, not all, but I know where to go for whatever I need, right? But in Oblivion, I always have to search, because there's nothing that really stands out, and it just doesn't make sense the way it is built and connected to everything. That's one big issue I have with the towns in Oblivion, which is why I specifically mentioned a bunch of times in this video already that I like the nature, open world aspect, but not the towns. Not the towns, not the caves, not the dungeons, not the Oblivion gates, but the nature, the paths, everything else, yeah. Because that at least makes sense. There's not really much rhyme or reason to why it is the way it is, but when it comes to a city or a town, there should be a reason why it is the way it is. It needs to make sense, right? It needs to be coherent, it needs to be connected well, it needs to have features that stand out. Good luck finding a goddamn shop in Oblivion. I've never, you know, they have these weird signs hanging out the front, but even then, good luck finding them. It's just no. So yeah, I can totally see Oblivion towns are extremely lackluster, especially if you compare them to Skyrim. But I think Skyrim's towns and cities just aren't that great either. They're well better designed than the ones in Oblivion. But if you really think about it, in what town are there 20 people living? Even in a town, there are more people, at least 100, right? So yeah, that's something I really didn't like. But I like how packed the cities and towns and whatever you want to call it in Skyrim. And I hate how spread out and weirdly placed they are in Oblivion.
I didn't find the towns of Cyrodiil to be quite as varied or engaging.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not like these cities are bad by any means.
They are
much better than the copy-pasted settlements of most modern open-world games.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Exploring them. Each has relatively unique architecture and some defining quests that give them enough variety, but I just don't think cities like Coral, Bruma, Bravel, or Cheydinal stack up to the memorability and intrigue of Solitude, Whiterun, Rift.
Yeah, no, they're way more varied
for me
and memorable.
All of
memorable, so there we go.
Like pretty textbook medieval cities without much of the flair that I loved in Skyrim settlements. The Imperial City in particular was a massive disappointment.
Yes, I agree.
I was always intrigued when I would look out over the map and see this massive, magnificent metropolis looming in the distance. However, when I finally got there, I was incredibly disappointed to see that it felt like an array of several bland, boxed-in areas separated by loading screens rather than a massive, sprawling city.
Wholeheartedly agree.
I've seen split opinions online, with some people really preferring the towns in Oblivion, while others much rather would spend their time in those of Skyrim. While I still think they're pretty enjoyable to explore here, I fall into the latter camp.
Yeah, me too.
The last thing
I like Skyrim towns more.
Oblivion's atmosphere is its music. I absolutely love Skyrim's soundtrack and listen to it quite often at night, whether that's while studying or editing videos. It's one of my favorites in any open world game. Oblivion's music, while not being able to match the nostalgia I have for Skyrim's, is still really great.
Yes!
It makes sense as it's the same composer.
Yeah.
The game's soundtrack definitely takes a more whimsical tone to match the feel of the world.
Exactly, and that's what the remaster didn't understand. It used the original music, but it changed the visuals, so it didn't fit. If you play the original, you realize that it works. It works. The reason it is so whimsical is because the game itself is kind of whimsical in design. But the remaster didn't understand that, and that's what fucks me up so much about the remaster version, because that's the most important aspect of Oblivion. In other games, it would be, I don't know, maybe the story, the characters, that you do them justice, that you be as faithful as possible. But in Oblivion, it's just basically the vibes. The vibes need to matter, because everything else in this game is mid-tier at best, if not even lower mid-tier. So why they changed that and fucked it up so bad is beyond my comprehension. Dude, I do not understand, because that's what made Oblivion Oblivion, you know? The vibes, and they're gone. They're gone. Ripped out of the chests like a heart during an Aztec ceremony or ritual, or whatever you want to call it, where they use the whistle like
while a magical piece of music kicks in is a pretty cool feeling, and I will definitely be adding some of these tracks to my playlist.
Yeah, they're just timeless. I love them.
I really appreciated songs like Reign of the Septums, which is a great rendition of the Elder Scrolls main theme.
Yeah, it gets me hyped, but different hype than the Skyrim theme. The Skyrim theme is more like, yeah, adrenaline, while this one is more like grand.
I also
adventure.
like Harvest Dawn or All's Well, which are peaceful classics.
Oh yeah. The harps and everything, I just love it. I love it. Oh yeah. That's some good stuff. Yeah.
And then perhaps my two favorites, Wings of Kinnereth and Glory of Cyrodiil, each of which evokes the magical feelings that make this world so endearing.
Huh. Okay, I kind of disagree. I think that one is overused in the game. I heard it too often. If they used it like in Minecraft, how sporadic it is. Well, this one is alright. Yeah, I like this. It's a sad, melancholic feeling. While the other is just whimsical and too often used.
And that's probably my favorite aspect of Oblivion. It provides a sense of magic that feels straight from a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
While I do prefer Skyrim's darker tone, more desolate landscapes, and distinct, memorable towns, I still think this game's atmosphere is pretty solid. My real problems with Oblivion start to arise when actually spending time engaging with the gameplay mechanics
Yeah.
of the world. Skyrim definitely has its fair share of jank, but I don't think any of that could have prepared me for just how jarring some of Oblivion's more dated aspects often feel. I'm not going to sit here and complain about elements like the combat because Skyrim set the bar pretty low in that regard. Both games involve a very rudimentary system.
It's even worse in Oblivion.
With your enemy
Yeah.
and seeing whose health runs out first.
And just a reminder, that's the remastered version. The remastered version is kind of improved when it comes to the combat. If you played the original, it's awful. It's awful. But, like I said, that's not what made the game great. I'd say probably most people would agree with me on that. It's not the gameplay or the story or anything else in this game. It's actually just the vibes, the feelings, the charming jankiness of the original, and the remaster just butchered it. I know I keep repeating myself. I'm so disappointed by the remaster that I gotta shit on it. I just have this inner drive in me to relentlessly shit on this piece of shit remaster. Full price. Fuck. I'm still mad about that. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money I wasted, and I didn't even get any of the feelings I had while playing the original Oblivion. While if I go back and play the original Oblivion, I'll still have those feelings. So it's not just nostalgia speaking, it's just the things they changed, they did not change for the better. It was shit, man. It was ass. Playing the original Oblivion version feels like you're playing an over 20-year-old game that was made by a much smaller studio, a much more inexperienced studio. Well, depends how you see it, right? But you can definitely tell. But with the remaster version, it's like you're playing a modern game that's just shat out in 2 weeks. Asset flip, feeling like Unreal Engine bullshittery, unoptimized, ugly piece of shit. So yeah, there's nothing to appreciate about the remastered version in my opinion. Except for the, let's say, an hour of gameplay of experiencing what everything looks like now. Especially if you played the original, of course, because then you can compare it to what it looked like back then and what it looks like now. But that wears off pretty quickly, and then you're left with a pile of shit. While with the original Oblivion, you have at least a charming pile of shit. It's still a piece of shit, but it's a charming one. Like me, I'm still a piece of shit, but because I'm using this, you know, this beautiful, cute as fuck pufferfish model. I'm a cute piece of shit. Yeah. While if I just showed my face, everyone would realize that he's just a normal piece of shit. Who cares? So yeah, it's still a piece of shit. Still a piece of shit. But it matters. What piece of shit? Is it a dog shit or a human shit? Because a dog shit is at least, I don't know, at least a little more bearable than a human shit, right? Human shit is just, I mean, all the things we eat. So no wonder our shit is that's that disgusting. And then you go down even further that rabbit hole, and you're like, rabbit shit. That's a lot of shit. But it's kind of funny because it's balls. it's shit balls. And you go even further down the line, like small hamsters, still a lot of shit, but tiny shit balls, or like tiny shit sausages. And at that point, touching them even isn't that disgusting as imagine touching human shit. So yeah, still shit. At the end of the day, it's still shit. But it matters. The context matters. And the remaster took away the context that made it hamster shit and turned it into human shit. Yeah, fuck that game.
I did like that Oblivion seemed to place a bigger emphasis on magic with a greater variety of spells.
Yeah, I didn't
Both
like the way it
games
was
also
executed.
function pretty similarly in their armor and weapons.
Yeah.
However, the main difference here is that Oblivion involves gear durability, which is sort of annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
It's small, tedious things like this that I didn't experience in Skyrim that just feel unnecessarily frustrating here.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues with Oblivion is that the gameplay requires much more grinding since you have so many skills to manage to keep up with the level of enemies. I remember several times when I'd be trying to complete a side quest or fight an enemy to get a highly coveted weapon. However, I would either be completely overpowered by a high-level foe or swarmed by several enemies at once.
Really?
Forcing me to leave the endeavor for later. I hate all forms of level gating and forced grinding.
Okay, that's an interesting experience he made, because I had the exact opposite. I played the game and it was way too easy. I just ran through the entire game, no problem, being constantly overpowered. And I'm not a pro. I know I played my fair share of the original, but I'm not a pro. I'd say I'm more a pro in Skyrim than I am in Oblivion. Yeah, I don't know, that's an interesting observation he made, because maybe it has to do with the fact that the original had this really awful level scale, where the enemies completely scale with you to the point where they outscale you. So maybe having experienced that made it easier with the changes they made in the remastered version, because they changed that system. Still not completely, but kind of. It was a weird mix of both, I guess, and that made it extremely easy. Way too easy, in my opinion. I mean, at some point I cranked up the difficulty to absolute max. It was more of a challenge, but still, it was way too easy. While, funnily enough, like I said, in the original, it is the exact opposite. It just feels like it gets harder and harder, because it does, because they out-level you at some point. That's, yeah. So yeah, I did not expect to hear that it feels level gated, because I feel like, no, neither the original or the remastered. So that's an interesting experience he made.
Games, and this is no exception. Also, speaking of enemies, they follow you everywhere, and it absolutely infuriates me. I remember a quest I was doing where I had to go rescue a painter inside of some magical painting. Inside of this painting are a few trolls that you must defeat, one of which I didn't kill. That troll managed to follow me all the way through this paint realm, somehow transported itself out of the painting,
Damn.
followed me through this guy's house, out his door, and all the way through town until me and some guards took care of it. Like, genuinely, why?
What the hell?
Stuff like this happens all the time in Oblivion, and it makes me crash out.
I did not experience anything like that.
The fact that you have to sleep every time you level up if you want to distribute your
That's
achievement
ass.
points.
I always
rather
hated
than
that.
just being able to access a section of the menu.
I just realized something. Maybe that's why it was easier for me. Because back in the day, there was a common consensus among players in Oblivion that you don't level up. Don't level your character, because the enemies will level up as well. And at some point, like I said, you reach a point where they out-level you, and it just keeps going. So I never really spent skill points or anything like that in the original game, because I just couldn't be bothered with that shit, you know? Because at that point, it's just like, why do we level up? What's the point if you stay the same, basically, against enemies? If your power doesn't really change, or in the case of Oblivion, it gets worse over time. They get stronger and stronger, and you kind of feel like you're getting weaker and weaker. But yeah, the remaster changed that, and maybe that made it a lot more easier for me, because I was used to running through the game as a level 1, and then in the remastered version, I don't know where I'm going with this. But it's interesting, but because, like I said, I haven't experienced it. I have experienced the fact that I just felt completely overpowered. Yeah, the sleeping to level up. I always hated that, but like I said, in the old game, people recommended to never level up, so it wasn't a big issue for me. Sleeping to level up. I have no idea what Bethesda thought when they designed the leveling system like that. Why? There's nothing that speaks for it. I don't see why they did the way they did it.
Kept forgetting about this, meaning I would have to sleep like 5 times in a row just to level up my attributes. Also, like, the potions in this game suck. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really glad I have 100 random potions, yet somehow not a single one is a healing potion when I need it. I'm kind of just rambling at this point, and if you're a big RPG fan, you probably think I sound stupid.
No.
My issues aren't with...
But I gotta pause here and stop the recording because we're almost reached the 1 hour mark and that causes issues in the recording for me. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, I'm back. And what he said about the potions, I totally get that. There are so many useless potions in the game, I feel like. So I only kept the, basically it's just health potions. But even health potions, I feel like I keep running out of them. But it's also kind of an issue in Skyrim for me, but for a different reason in Skyrim than it is in Oblivion. Because in Oblivion, I just can't find a shop where they sell goddamn potions. I just can't. Harking back to the points I made about the towns in Oblivion, right? While in Skyrim, at least I know where I can fucking buy health potions and I can also make them myself quite easily. I never figured out the alchemy system in Oblivion. It's the same with the lockpicking system. I still don't understand how it works. I've played it since release and I still don't understand how it works. I have no clue. It's just, I just buy as many lockpicks I can from Shady Sam or whatever who was called. And then I just spam the auto unlock thing, auto attempt button. I always have been doing that.
Many of the larger gameplay systems here, but rather these little elements that just feel so much less streamlined than anything I was used to in Skyrim.
Yeah.
I guess this just sort of proves I really am a sky baby, as they say, and I'm not really built for more hardcore RPGs.
No.
I think I can get around some of these issues.
No. Hold on. Don't put yourself down like that. It is because you came from Skyrim with the expectations of Skyrim. And what you got in Oblivion Remastered is, like I said, it's not even like the original. But still, what you got is a 20-year-old game repackaged as a remaster. In quotation marks, you can't see my hands, but I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. So yeah, it is true. Back in the day, the systems were not fully developed. And Skyrim improved upon those systems. So obviously, you like Skyrim systems more because they are objectively, in many cases, better than what came before. So don't put yourself down like that. You're not a sky baby. It's just the expectations. The way you approach something matters. People don't agree with me on that many times, but it is true. I'm telling you, it is the truth. And what I mean by that is, for example, when I play a turn-based RPG, a Japanese turn-based RPG, I went into my first turn-based RPG thinking it would be kind of like, let's say, a Platinum Games, but with turn-based combat, right? Wrong approach, because I hated it. But now I know what to expect from these types of games, and I know what I like about them, what I don't like, and I can shape my expectations for the type of game I'm going to experience beforehand, so I don't really get disappointed or frustrated, and rather expect, you know, the good stuff and the bad stuff that comes with each subgenre of games. And that makes it a lot more, I'd say, enjoyable for me. So if you go with the wrong expectations at a game, then there's no wonder you're not gonna have a good time, unless it's an absolute masterpiece. But even then, it can kind of hamper your fun, right? If you're expecting something you're not getting. So yeah, I think you can be a normal RPG player like everyone else. You just gotta know what to expect beforehand. If you played a couple turn-based RPGs, for example, you know what to expect roughly. They don't really innovate that much within the subgenre, and that can help find enjoyment in games you did not expect to find enjoyment in. Like I said, I really don't like turn-based RPGs, but I'm kind of starting to like them more and more, especially JRPGs, even though they're just grindy and kind of overcomplicated. But I kind of look for that nowadays. Even though I don't like the system, I know what to expect, I know that it's gonna be there, and I'm kind of looking forward to it in a weird way. So yeah, I think you can grow into that with the right expectations you set for yourself. And you can get the right expectations for anything by experiencing them a couple of times. So don't give up. Don't give up, lukewarm lore, and play the original Oblivion, please. At least for a couple of quests. Please, you gotta do this. You gotta do this. Please, my Oblivion heart is bleeding, hearing that you only played the remastered version, it seems. Please, you gotta give it a try. Even if you don't like it, at least you tried then. Because the remaster is shit. Please, I'm begging you. If you see this on the off chance, please. I'll suck your dick. I'll suck your ass.
If the world of Oblivion wasn't so underwhelming to explore. I'm not talking about the artistic design, I'm talking about the actual content here.
Yeah.
Whether it's traveling the roads and coming across a unique NPC encounter, finding a small new settlement with quests to do, or delving into one of the many dungeons.
In Skyrim, it feels like everything has sort of a purpose.
Countless hours just
in Oblivion, it doesn't.
Of Skyrim without getting bored. I hoped Oblivion would provide that same feeling, yet it just doesn't. Handcrafted unique encounters are rare in this world.
Yeah.
Instead, most of
I'd say Skyrim is more like exploring a theme park. Everything has a purpose, everything is designed in a way to lead you to the next attraction, and there's also some areas that aren't really meant to be part of the next attraction or something like that, but it still has some purpose. They put some thought into it, right? While Oblivion, I'd say, is more like going into an actual forest, a wild forest. It's just nature. Nature doesn't really design paths like that to guide you from one point to another, right? So that's also something I feel like I like it in the way it is done in both games. I like the exploring something that's just the way it is, nature, but I also like exploring a world that is purposely designed to give you an interesting time, to show you interesting things or let you do interesting things or random encounters and stuff like that. I personally like both, but Oblivion's open world is different design-wise than Skyrim, I'd say.
Oblivion's exploration
very different.
Consists of dozens and dozens of copy-pasted, tedious dungeons.
Yeah, that's shit.
When I first exited the servers and came across
completely
one of
agree.
these, I was like, okay, this is sort of cool.
And the next just
Then
looks
I
the
walked
same.
probably 50 meters,
The next
and
looks the
came
same.
across Another.
And the next looks the same.
And then another.
And they're all the same.
I quickly realized these were the only activities to really engage with in the world.
Yeah.
They do follow slightly different themes, with some being ancient Aelid ruins or decrepit caves, or
but they're still the same.
Oblivion gates, which are another subject entirely.
Yes.
However, none of them are memorable, consisting of the same copy-pasted rooms, and just have tons of enemies and meaningless chests scattered about to create some illusion of engaging content. Also, like the fact that you have to run all the way back to the beginning of every dungeon once you complete it is just plain annoying.
Yes, but the way that it's done in Oblivion, definitely. But I don't like the looping around aspect in Skyrim dungeons because it feels so fake. Because if you're in a cave, for example, that's nature, right? Nature isn't designed in a way that it loops perfectly around so you don't have to go back all the way you came from, right? And it really takes me out of the immersion in Skyrim. While it is annoying in games like Oblivion, but I prefer that a little bit more. It depends. If it's a gigantic ruin, then no, I don't like it, obviously. But if it's a small cave, then I don't see the issue. It feels more realistic in that sense. Because a cave, like I said in that example, wasn't handmade. While, for example, ruins, in that case, we could argue that it makes more sense that they decided to make the design decision to loop around back to the beginning at the end. Because the ruins and stuff like that, they were handmade, story-wise, lore-wise. So it makes sense. People use that place, so obviously they don't want to go back all the way they came from. Instead, they made a shortcut. That makes sense. But for caves, or tombs or broken ruins, it doesn't really make sense all too much. I think a healthy mix between both would be a good compromise in that regard. But yeah, I can still see where he's coming from because backtracking is something you either like or don't like. I'm kind of on the verge of it depends, right? A lot of backtracking, hell no. Some backtracking, hell yeah. I'm playing Resident Evil 2 Remake right now and I don't like the backtracking. I don't like it. I know it has some shortcuts, but still, it's too much for me. The game is just designed around that idea. While in Oblivion, I find it bearable. It's not enjoyable, but it's also not really frustrating to an insane degree for me.
Because of these quality of life issues, I frankly would never enter any of these dungeons unless a quest required it, which is saying something as I usually go out of my way to do optional activities in open world games.
That's interesting because I am completely the opposite. I mean, I agree. I also don't do the dungeons I'm not supposed to. I don't do that stuff. And maybe even Oblivion ruined it for me. Because like I said, I played it when it came out, so I kind of grew up with it. And in Skyrim, I also never go into caves or outposts or whatever, you know, the side content. Because if there's no quest attached to it, I'm expecting kind of like an Oblivion type of deal. You go in there, it's kind of a waste of time, it's not enjoyable, and the loot is shit. And maybe I just realized maybe Oblivion specifically ruined that for me because I'm trying to think. Before Oblivion, I haven't really played games like that. I think Oblivion was one of my first games. I was a child back then, so yeah, I haven't had a lot of experience back then. But it was, I think, the first open world type of experience in that regard, like where you can decide to explore caves and stuff. And I think it ruined it for me. That's an interesting thought. I learned something new about myself today. Nice.
I'm not sitting here acting like Skyrim's dungeons don't get repetitive at times, but they feel way more handcrafted and engaging than anything in Oblivion.
Yeah.
The game's world genuinely seems so empty and uninteresting to engage with because there's nothing to do in it aside from these copy-pasted dungeons. And no, places to pick or little enemies don't count. Where's the NPCs with little dynamic interactions out in the world that I love from Bethesda games?
That was too ambitious for the
Somehow,
time.
even Ubisoft open worlds feel more interesting than Oblivion's, which is something I didn't ever expect to come out of my mouth.
But I think Ubisoft open worlds are worse in that regard because they are done now, while Oblivion has been done 20 years ago, right? They had to scale back a lot of ideas. They had a lot of cool ideas like the Radiant AI and stuff like that didn't really come to fruition simply because, no, we're talking about a really old game, right? And that's why I think Ubisoft's world design is so much worse because they're doing what Oblivion did a little bit better, I gotta admit, a little bit better, but they're still doing it now. And it just, no, it's outdated, but in a modern game. And that's kind of worse for me. In Oblivion, I can look the other way and say, yeah, you know what, limitations and stuff like that of the time. Makes sense. But Ubisoft doesn't have the excuse. Ubisoft open worlds are, they're shit. I hate them. I hate them. I like Ubisoft's game ideas, like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, hell, even the Rayman Raving Rabbits bullshit, kind of like that, but I don't like the way they execute that stuff. The endless, pointless shit scattered around the map, a never-ending checklist of things to do that's just not enjoyable at all. No, I hate it.
I will say, my complaints with the world design don't extend to the towns. Each of them feels very handcrafted with a lot of interesting buildings that can all be explored. It's just those damn dungeons.
Yeah.
Maybe
but there was a
grindy,
big critique point back in the day as well.
Exploring the world of Oblivion. I don't know. For me, it's a landscape that just feels like an incredibly bland artificial space consisting solely of a bunch of copy-pasted, annoying dungeons.
Because it is.
Unfortunately, this offsets most of the immersion that the game's relatively solid atmosphere manages to build for me. It's
I can see
like that I just wasn't prepared to deal with coming into this game. Skyrim is by no means revolutionary in terms of its gameplay and the content it offers in its world, yet it feels like a night and day difference from Oblivion.
It improved a lot.
Maybe my expectations were off. Maybe I'm just not built for RPGs.
No.
Or maybe I'm delusional, because I really thought I would fall in love with this game.
No, don't put yourself down like that, man. With the RPG thing, I explained that already. You can grow into it. You just gotta go at it with the right leveled expectations, I guess. And for delusional, no. It's maybe a bit wishful thinking that you expected a 20-year game that just got a small, I'd say, insignificant shit overhaul to be on par with a game that came way later after it, that built upon it. But it's not delusional, I'd say. I mean, people said like, Yakuza series is, damn, it's the best shit ever. And then I played the Yakuza 1 remake and I'm like, it's good, but where's the masterpiece? In that case, it's actually not your expectations you set, not just. It's mostly the expectations the people set by saying, it's the best shit ever, yeah. Obviously, you expect the masterpiece then at that point, and if it doesn't deliver, it's not fully your fault. And the things that are your fault are excusable, because if you're not jaded like me, obviously you're gonna be hopeful and maybe have a little bit too high of expectations for something, right? It's normal. I'm just old. I'm old and bitter, so I only expect the worst, so I cannot be disappointed. And it's not healthy. That's not healthy. I suggest you just reel in your expectations a little bit before playing a game, and then just let the game decide if it wants to wow you or not, rather than going in expecting to be wowed by the game and then it not delivering. But also don't follow my footsteps too closely. That goes for everyone. I'm a jaded piece of shit. I'm very nihilistic, very pessimistic, very negative. I'm a negative Nancy. Yeah. And that's not an enjoyable life, so don't. Do as I say, but don't do as I say. Once again, AceoX giving mixed signals. That's what I'm best at. Yeah. Skillful mastery indeed. I'm the best. And you're not the best, because I'm the best. There's only one the best, and one not the best. And you are the one not the best, because I am already the best. I called it first, so I'm first. And if I die, then the best label gets passed on to you.
When looking at the consensus online, the one area of Oblivion that seemed to be considered universally superior to Skyrim is its quests.
No.
Skyrim's various quest lines.
No. I disagree.
As well as the impactful choices they allowed the player to make. So I was incredibly excited to see just how good Oblivion's quest lines really were.
They're shit.
However, I felt like once again, there were some little frustrations that held me back from truly enjoying any of these to the extent I thought I would. I'll start this section by discussing the main story questline. So, I actually have a confession to make. I've never beaten Skyrim's main story,
What?
even after playing the game for hundreds of hours. As a result,
Outrageous.
I really wasn't expecting too much of Oblivion in this regard, as I prefer to just spend countless hours getting lost in these games more
No.
optional quest lines instead.
No.
Even so, I still think in terms of what I played of each game's story, I prefer what Skyrim has to offer. From the beginning, I just really wasn't invested in much of Oblivion's story,
Yeah.
mostly due to its introduction. Skyrim's opening is incredibly iconic. and
Yeah, it's grand.
sort of a running
It's
joke
epic.
at this
Right
point.
from the get-go. Well,
Finally awake.
But I think
can you shut up? Can you shut up? Jesus Christ! I was trying to make a point. Stupid Nords and their loud voices. No, what I meant to say is after the execution stuff, it really gets to the point with the explosions, dragon, combat, hell yeah. While Oblivion is just, it's goofy. It wouldn't work like that in a real world setting. While Skyrim is kind of goofy as well, because it's like, yeah, okay, you're at the right time for it to happen like that, okay? But in Oblivion, it's just 10 times worse. It's like, wait, there's someone in the cell, but we gotta go through the cell because for some reason the escape route is in that cell. And hold on, that's the one. You know, the one from my dreams. No way. And then you escape, and then the assassins. Where do they come from? I don't know. Where do they come from? How did they get there? How? And then the guy dies, and you're the one who's supposed to find his heir and deliver the amulet. And it's like, you are the one. And of course in Skyrim it's also like that. It's like, oh my god, you're the Dragonborn. But it's at least a little bit more believable. But I'd say that's a difficulty Bethesda always had to make it kind of less like a written story. And things happen because they have to happen. Otherwise the story wouldn't work. And instead make it more, I guess, realistic, fitting. But that's also kind of the charm of Bethesda games, I feel like. They write some really cool stories, but sometimes just the amateur vibes manage to get through every now and then, poke through the facade, and it's like, oh, did a child write this? That's kinda cute. I don't know where he heard that, but Oblivion's quests are shit. The only positives I hear about Oblivion's quest line has always been the Dark Brotherhood, and it is cool. It is cool. But aside from that, it's not great. Everything else is just bland, half-baked, frustrating even. So I don't know where he heard that. I imagine what a shock it must have been to hear that, ooh, the quests are really good, and then you get Oblivion. That, I'm glad I'm not in this position, because that would have made me very angry with what I know about Oblivion.
more effective at really getting you invested in its world. From its opening scene, the game sets a dark, mature tone as you ride on a carriage through a thick fog to your supposed execution. Skyrim then further reinforces the brutality of this harsh world by making you watch one character killed by arrows in his tracks while another gets beheaded right in front of you.
I feel like that level of violence was kind of misleading, because when the game came out and I played it, I was like, damn, that's the vibe the game is gonna be like, and it never really followed up on that. Maybe the vampire stuff, maybe that, they had some kind of gruesome, dark vibes to them, but everything else didn't really live up to that, to be honest. Sure, there's the execution also in Solitude, but aside from that, no. So I was kind of disappointed by Skyrim, the way it was done in this case, while in Oblivion, there was nothing to begin with, so it didn't disappoint, because there was nothing, no hook to begin with, aside an old guy telling you, you are from my dreams, oh shit, I'm dead. And that's it. Yeah, I don't really remember anything else from the main story of Oblivion, to be honest, even though I played it like maybe a year ago, or whenever it was released, the remastered version, and I already forgot about it, because it's just so not interesting at all, to be quite frank. To be quite filthy frank in this bitch. Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker. I'm old.
You Imperial bastards!
On top of this, the game does a great job of staging the key conflict between the Empire
That's true.
and Stormcloaks in
Yeah.
an intriguing manner from the beginning.
I remember a lot more about the main quest in Skyrim than
Two factions,
Oblivion.
introducing the importance of choice and consequence in this world.
That
Also,
That-
the
that-
opening is
no.
just an awesome spectacle as you must escape Helgen while a massive dragon burns it to the ground.
You're doing great. Torald! Gods! Everyone get back!
I see this and I'm like, because I've played Skyrim for thousands of hours, so it feels kind of goofy to me seeing this, because I only stopped once on my first playthrough and actually played it the way it was intended, you know, to be played. But ever since, I just ran past everything once I realized that there are no consequences in this stage of the game. You can just run past everything. It's just it's goofy. So yeah, seeing the stakes like that, maybe it looks interesting, but once you know that there aren't any stakes, there are no consequences really, it's kind of goofy, yeah.
I could dive way deeper into why Skyrim's opening is so effective, but I'll save that for another video.
Yeah, you could make a series out of that.
Oblivion's opening to be nearly as engaging. Similar to Skyrim, you start as a prisoner of the Empire, albeit this time locked in a cell, when all of a sudden the Emperor and his guards appear and open your cell door.
Yeah, but it's so weird.
They must enter through a secret passage to escape a plot on the Emperor's.
Even back then I thought like,
at this moment, you
well, that's convenient.
Seen you in his dreams, and that you will soon serve some role in helping Tamriel that he doesn't reveal to you.
Yeah.
You then must follow him and his guards through a series of tunnels until you inevitably witness his assassination at the hands of the mythic Dawn.
Let's get this up, stranger.
I guess this opening does sort of introduce you to the game's main threat,
Yeah, but
this mysterious cult. But not only does it lack the spectacle and intrigue of Skyrim's opening, I think it just does a poor job of really establishing a defining tone for the rest of the game.
The original, in my opinion, defined the tone perfectly because it was so goofy. In this case, the remastered version, it was just jank. It just looked amateurish. While the old version, the original version, is just so goofy. It's like, if I remember correctly, there isn't even a kill animation like that. I seem to remember that the guy just appears and starts whacking away at the Emperor and he dies like, and then Boris comes along and kneels down and he's like, no, the Emperor is dead. No. And it's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. But in the remastered, it feels like a kid tried to make a game and the kid thought, oh, that's gonna be impactful. But it's just, no, it's no. I think the original set the tone quite well. The remaster is just a shit version, to be honest, once again. So play the original. Yeah. It is thematically more fitting. I think that pretty much sums up all my thoughts about why I hate the remaster, because the original is just thematically fitting.
And that's my main issue with Oblivion's main story. It just feels kind of uninspired and basic without much.
But that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Clear message. You're simply some hero trying to fight a generic demonic threat against the Empire.
Yeah.
There's not much more to it than that. I don't know, I guess you could say the same thing about Skyrim's story being really basic.
If you break it down like that, then yeah, obviously every story can be quite basic, but the way Skyrim's main story unfolds and how it adds to it over the time you play the main story is a lot more well executed and makes it feel more than it actually is, while Oblivion just does not deliver at all in that regard. It just stays this very basic premise, while Skyrim, I feel like, starts to open up the more you continue and reveal more and more stuff and make it more complex than it seems at first, and Oblivion is just the same all the way till the end.
More of the way its tone and conflicts fit in that world. None of this really matters though, because I don't play these games for their main quests. Instead, I play them for their engaging optional quest lines. In that regard, Oblivion is pretty good. A lot of the guild quest lines
I'm trying to think.
are solid. Particularly the Mages
I
Guild
think I
and
play these games
quest lines, which are a lot
for no reason
than I remember them being in Skyrim. In addition, the smaller one-off side quests in Oblivion are also pretty well done, usually having some sort of wacky twist or interesting decision that you must make at the end. This is definitely the area of the game where that signature Bethesda charm really shows up, with a lot of little memorable stories that you get to experience.
Yeah.
I really have no problem with the contents of these side quests. My issue lies more so within the dialogue. I never remembered Skyrim being very good at NPC conversations, but after going back to compare it to Oblivion, it's almost night and day. In both games, you have the ability to talk to every NPC, but in Oblivion, that's really just an illusion. Skyrim's NPCs at least try to appear like real people that all have a few different, relatively interesting things to say.
I won't repeat them, and I won't allow them to be spread under this roof.
What is he showing his thigh?
Oblivion's NPCs
Yeah, they all have the same.
not only have horrible AI,
I'd like a soiled cloth.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Under arrest for the theft of the bust of Lathasa and Doris.
By the 9.
Usually recycle a few of the same robotic lines of
So
dialogue.
But
that
yeah,
aren't trying
it's
to
not
sound
good.
Real things
Good,
people
good.
would
It's
say.
bad good.
Apparently some fool tried to resurrect the Crimson Scars in Deep Scorn Hollow.
Oh, thank you, kind sir.
Some fool tried to resurrect the Crimson Scars in Deep Scorn Hollow.
Apparently some fool tried to resurrect
It's all the same.
Deep Scorn Hollow.
Apparently some fool tried to resurrect the Crimson Scars in Deep Scorn Hollow.
It's not
Also,
good.
there's
It's
like
not
10
good.
voice actors for hundreds of characters, which doesn't.
You should hear the original. They're like 3. And they're so much worse. You have these beggars. They're like, could you spare a coin for an old man? And then you give them a coin and they're like, thank you, kind sir. And then you talk about rumors and did you hear that the Oblivion gate, blah, blah, blah. And it's just not, it does not fit at all. But that's also kind of what made the old game so interesting, because it was with everything smashed together, with all the aspects of the game. It just made it feel like a passion project by inexperienced developers, while the remastered version just feels like an uninspired, shat-out excuse of a game to make money, which it probably was, because there's no way, if they actually cared about it at all, that they would deliver something like that. No, I refuse to believe that.
Match up at all. Most of this really broke my immersion, as I'm someone who tries to talk to every character in these types of games to pick
I
up
don't.
every quest or all the
I
information
don't.
can.
I don't like that at
So
all.
yes, while the quests themselves have interesting stories to tell, the fact that they revolve around such an archaic, robotic dialogue system really hurts them for me. Also, I've already hated on Oblivion's RPG mechanics enough, so I may as well add to that by saying I despise the reputation system here.
Yeah, I hate
I'm
it
not sure
too.
if it's because the NPCs are so robotic, but the fact that some of them won't let you proceed with certain quests because you don't have a good enough quote-unquote relationship with them is just so stupid.
Yeah,
This gives you no option but to either waste your gold bribing them within a little menu screen, or find a charm spell to use on them. The system really just...
no, you can. Wait, don't you know that there is this system, right? You can. Did they remove that? Now that I think about it, I never used that in the remastered version. Well, in the original at least, there was a weird wheel, and I don't even know how to describe it, but you do stuff in a certain order, and they get happy with you. Yeah, I'm not good at describing that stuff, especially Oblivion mechanics. Like, it's the same with lockpicking. I don't really understand how that system works. I kind of figured it out to do it by doing it, but I don't really understand how it works. So, yeah.
absolutely nothing to the experience and is an unnecessary annoyance that further broke my immersion.
Yeah, I don't like it
The
either.
little stuff like this that Skyrim didn't have that makes Oblivion so much more frustrating to play through for me.
Yeah,
I get that the
I can
game
see that.
is pretty old, so it's unreasonable to really expect some amazing dialogue system or great NPC AI, but I'm just trying to unpack why I personally didn't enjoy this game as much as I was expecting. It's a shame because I think the actual contents of Oblivion's quest lines are pretty interesting.
yeah, it has
They just
potential.
bogged down for me by
That's
a
the
lot of the jank
Bethesda way.
people seem to be able to put up with. I know there's a bunch of people out there who love Oblivion for its heavier RPG elements and the little janky things that give it a sense of charm.
Yeah.
That's you.
No.
Just realize
No. Hold on. The original doesn't have little janky things. It is gigantic jank. But that's what made it charming in that way. While the remaster, they removed the big jank, but that big jank also added together with the small jank and the ambition and everything is what made it good jank. While the remaster stripped it away and you're left with basic jank and not the mixture. And the mixture is what made Oblivion so good, in my opinion. And that's why I hate the remastered. Fuck you, remastered version. I fucking hate you. I'll repeat it until the end of days. Ambulance once again.
not denying that I'm a so-called sky baby. I love Skyrim for its incredible world and atmosphere.
Yeah, Skyrim is great. There's nothing wrong with liking it.
Quest lines. But after playing Oblivion, I realized that Skyrim is incredibly bare bones in its RPG elements and really is more of an open world adventure game rather than a true RPG.
Yeah.
I think if I played Oblivion first and gotten used to its more dated aspects before being exposed to Skyrim's streamlined nature, I would have enjoyed it much more. Because that's
Yeah.
the thing. Oblivion has all of what made Skyrim so special to me. It has the magical atmosphere and the memorable quest lines, yet unfortunately, these things are dampened by some of the dated elements of its gameplay systems and world that make the game feel like a slog at times. I want to
Yeah,
emphasize
I
that
can see
liked
that.
much of my time with Oblivion, just not nearly as much as I thought I would. I kept waiting and waiting to be graced by the second coming of Skyrim, yet that never happened. That's why I say Skyrim ruined Oblivion for me. Not because I hated the game or think it's terrible, but because the expectations Skyrim created for the game set it up to fail for me.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Like I said, Skyrim is a great game. Honestly, I'm still kind of hopeful that Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna top Skyrim, but I can't see it, to be honest. Sure, Skyrim is not a masterpiece in that sense. It has its own flaws, it has its own strengths and all that, right? But it is unique. It is very unique. A unique game. And you cannot really best a unique game unless you make another unique game. But then even you can't really compare those two because they're just two unique games, right? So I don't think it is even possible to do Skyrim 2 in that regard, but I'm still hopeful. At least I'm hopeful that we get another unique experience in the form of an Elder Scrolls game, but I'm worried. With how Bethesda games just ended up being in the last couple of years, I'm not very hopeful, to be honest, but I'm trying. When I think of a series, I think of a very consistent tone that carries on throughout, but then again, Jak and Daxter and Jak 2, right? Once again, I'm fucking myself over by talking out of my ass. But I feel like the Elder Scrolls series isn't really linked at all. Maybe Arena and Daggerfall, but I mean, compare Skyrim to Arena. It's night and day. It does not feel like the same series. So I always saw Elder Scrolls games as separate entities, right? Not a continuation, but rather its own thing. And I hope we get another cool Elder Scrolls entry and not Oblivion 2 or Skyrim 2 or Morrowind 2. I hope they really make it unique as well, just like the other installments in the series. So, like, I hope they don't go the Arena to Daggerfall route, if that makes sense. Because Daggerfall is a pretty cool game. Also improved a lot on Arena's faults and issues, but they're too similar. While Morrowind feels completely out of place compared to the other games, and then Oblivion feels completely out of place compared to the other games, and then Skyrim feels completely out of place compared to the other games. And I hope they keep that train going. I hope that the new Elder Scrolls game is gonna feel like it does not fit into the series, but it's cool. It's unique. That's my hope, but I guess we'll see. It seems like we have still a couple of years to wait until we hear anything concrete about the new Elder Scrolls game. Also, when the fuck does GTA 6 release, man? Games nowadays take ages. Jesus Christ, man.
I think this ruined what could have been a really great experience. My plan is to take a break from Oblivion and approach it again eventually with a fresh mindset, because the reality is, I still want so badly to love this game.
Interesting, okay. I did not expect that, to be honest. Well, in that regard, I suggest don't play the remastered version. If you go back to it, play the original. Trust me.
Thanks for watching. I know this video is a bit more divisive than what I usually post, but I hope that even if Oblivion is your favorite game ever, you can still respect where I'm coming from here.
Yeah.
I love just making videos talking about the games I play in a manner that is both fair, but also honest about how I feel.
Yeah, I like that. You're not
Enjoy stuff
just
like that.
shitting on a game, you're
Liking the
actually
video and
criticizing it, which is
even if your
fair,
opinion
I
on
think.
the game is a little different than mine. If not, that's cool too, I guess. Peace.
Bye-bye. I like that. Alright, great video. I talked a lot, but Oblivion is just, it is my thing. Hell yeah. I like this video, and I like his approach to criticizing. The way, at least, he criticized Oblivion. I haven't watched his other videos, so I have nothing to compare to if he always does it like that, but he said he does, so I'm taking his word for it. I like that, because while I like to hear someone shit relentlessly, completely, without giving any reason why on something can be quite enjoyable for me to witness, I more so enjoy having a conversation, I guess. And the best way to have a conversation about a topic is to approach it more from a logical standpoint, right? Instead of arguing nostalgia or emotional stuff, instead focusing on distilling it into logical facts, if that makes sense. So instead of saying, I don't like it, I like it more when people are like, I don't like it because that system is and that guy is like, that's it. It's, yeah. Constructive criticism is also something I value a lot. So yeah, I like that. What else can I say? I already talked for over 2 hours, so There's nothing else I can say. I've said everything there is to say in the existence of everything. Yeah. Why do I do this? I don't know. Editing this video is going to be such a fucking pain in the ass. Why can't I keep my goddamn opinions short? Why can't I just say I like it done? Goddamn it. But yeah, that's me. I really enjoyed this video and I'm down to watch more stuff in the future. I still got a lot of stuff on my watch later playlist I couldn't get to, so I'm gonna see that I slowly start to reduce the amount of videos I have in my watch later playlist one by one. And also I forgot to mention that I wanted to talk about that real quick in the beginning actually of the video, but I forgot about it. Like I said, yeah, that's an AceoX way. I think I'm just gonna slow down my upload schedule to one video a week on Fridays 6 p.m. Berlin time, because I just can't really get my shit together at the moment and some big life changes are ahead of me and time to slow down a little bit, and that will also give me some time to edit my reactions with some funny sound effects and stuff like that, like fart or moan or vine boom. Yeah! Like I did in my last reaction. I just wanted to mention that. Gonna slow down a little. But I'll continue. I'll continue nonetheless. And we'll see when we'll react to another video by him. And also, if you don't like it that I react to your stuff, tell me, Lukewarm Lord, and I'll stop. Okay? I just wanted to mention that. I'm always down for conversation. And if you don't want me to react to your stuff, just let me know and I won't do it, alright? Alright, so enough yapping. Let's start with the outro talk real quick. Like always, go into the video description, click the first link in the video description under the credits tab to get to the original video by Lukewarm Lore. Leave him a like, leave him a comment, tell him Skyrim, more like Skyrim job. Get it? Like Oblivion, more like Oblivious. Yeah, or Morrowind. More like, can I borrow your wind? Tell him that. And obviously subscribe to him. He proved to me and to you and to everyone else with this video that he deserves it. So, like I said in the beginning, now he got 2 reasons why you should subscribe to him. First of all, because he deserves it, because we watched his video. And the second is because he proved in this video that he makes some great content. So subscribe to him. Do it, do it. Execute Order 66. The 666, the devil. Satan, Satan. The Satan, the Lucifer. And in my comment section down below, tell me what you want me to react to next. Maybe another video by him, maybe by someone else, maybe about something else, for something else, you name it, I'll do it. I have to make this real quick because I'm running out of time once again for my recording. Shit, but try to make specific, like for example, give me a video title or something like that, because if it's about a topic I'm unfamiliar with, I don't know what to look out for. I don't know what's good and what isn't if I haven't seen it yet, so help me out in that regard. Or I can pick out something myself, like I've been doing mostly on this channel so far, and so far I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Or I can do both, just let me know which one you prefer, and I'm happy to oblige either way, alright? Like always, I'm gonna leave my own comment. Great video. I really dig it when people criticize, is that how you write it? I don't know. Thinks constructively and analytically over emotion-based reasoning. I really enjoyed it. Even though I am a big fan of Oblivion. Not the remastered though. That one's bad. I suggest you try out the original version of Oblivion, because the remaster really dropped the ball in many ways. Keep up the good work. And then we'll put that one. It's like, yeah! Post that. There we go. There it is. Beautiful. Alright, this has been the Small Penis Man. Small Penis Man out. Hey yo, penis mans. Why you got big dicks? I know. Why I got small penis? I don't know. What's the meaning of life? Having a small penis. If you disagree, then I've seen you in my dreams. You are the one from my dreams where you fuck me in the ass. Now watch me get killed by an assassin. Oh my god, the AceoX Emperor is dead. What a sad day. What's this? His heir, bring him this amulet. Goodbye. By the 9! Stop! You violated the law! Oh, thank you, kind sir. I'm like an Oblivion NPC in real life, and I'm proud of that. Don't you dare try to make it into something that's not admirable. Cause it's hard work. It's hard work being stupid and two-dimensional. It's hard work! Try it, you'll see how hard it is. Like my penis when I see you. Bye!